Hello, welcome to this update for the Atlantic. So let's see what's happening. So we now have invest 99L in the Caribbean. It has risen to a 90% chance of development in the next 7 days and 60% the next 2 days. So let's see. Disorganized showers and thunderstorms of the Central Caribbean Sea associated with broad area low pressure. Environmental conditions appear conducive for development, and a tropical depression is likely to form within the next 2 to 3 days, while the system moves slowly westward into the Western Caribbean. Thereafter, or afterward, a system further development is likely while the disturbance meanders through Western Caribbean Sea this weekend, and the system forecast to begin moving slowly northwestward by early next week. Interest on the northwestern Caribbean Sea should monitor the progress of this system. So yeah, this will likely become Tropical Storm Sara, or even Hurricane Sara, and we'll take a look at where this might go. So the Eastern Pacific still nothing, and here's invest 99L. So it's there in the Caribbean. There are some GFS ensembles that generally take this towards the Yucatan, but many go towards Western Cuba or Florida. You see, in the end, all of them end up curving towards Florida. Some the northwestern Bahamas, and others just linger near eastern Cuba, do some weird things. There are there's some Canadian members. There are less members on the Canadian, but some show Florida. Some try to curve back towards Jamaica, or meander on Central America. So yeah, but the intensity guidance from the models that we do have, all the four models that are already available show major hurricane. Some show one shows category 4, and most of them shows category 3. So still a few models here. The next few days we might have more models there, but the fact that all of them are already showing major hurricanes kind of concerning. The past few runs of the GFS had been all forming a strong hurricane, the Caribbean, and turning it towards Florida. So uh, I still think the GFS is a little bit too strong, but many people have been showing this on social media. So I guess we'll see that there's the European Z0Z, so it kind of forms a tropical storm there by the 15th or the 16th. Goes the European is also getting a major hurricane. 932 is very strong, but instead of going towards Florida, the latest one from the European is going into Cuba. So this is different, as turning to a major hurricane, curving right into Cuba and weakening. So this is interesting too. There's the 18Z from yesterday. It didn't go far out enough, but this site is weird today. It's not loading everything. But let's see. There's the Canadian model. Shows there. It goes, so it forms it right off Honduras there, goes through the Yucatan, kind of goes a weak storm towards Florida. So the Canadian has only a weak storm there. There's the icon too, forms something up there, just north of Central America, goes right into Belize there, kind of dissipates, might meander on the Gulf, but the icons are a little bit different. There's the Neptune too, starts forming something there. The Neptune has already almost a major hurricane too, passing right through Cuba and southern Florida. So the Neptune has some crazy ideas too, but we'll see. Let's see if any hurricane models have this invest no storms. So yeah, they still don't have this. Once we get some hurricane aircraft data and everything, we'll have the hurricane models running on this. But this was so recently designated as an invest. But the GFS ensembles, as I showed you, generally curve towards Florida, the northern Bahamas, or even Cuba, and some are lost near eastern Cuba, and others dissipating Central America, the Yucatan, but most just curve stronger towards Florida. The European ensembles are also curving towards Florida or Cuba, but this is kind of strange for the European model because many members of the European like showing category 4, category 5, category 3, so this is a little bit unusual for the European, but it is highlighting a potential of a strong system like the GFS has been showing there on the runs. So most members go towards like southwestern Florida, some further north, but there's a good concentration of members between Cuba and the Keys as well. So we'll have to see where this goes, but something's definitely forming there. The tropical storm probabilities from the European, this by Friday the 15th, it shows a like 30 to 4% by the 16th, a 60% already, like 50 to 60%, just off of Honduras and Nicaragua, grows all the way to 70 to 80% chance there by Sunday the 17th. That's a very high tropical storm probability. And then this goes and kind of goes towards Florida there. So let's see, there's tropical depression probability, of course. By the 15th, it's already 100% tropical depression probability. This goes there and still 100 until the 17th and meanders towards Cuba or Florida. And let's just see the hurricane probabilities. There's something interesting. So on the 16th, a 5% hurricane probability there. On the 17th, a 10%. All the way to 20% on the 18th. Hurricane probability. This goes there, remains at 20%. Right before Florida, like 30 to 40% hurricane probability there. So that's that's an interesting probability already, because normally hurricane probabilities are lower than that. But let's see here. Most models are showing this developing right to the north of Honduras and Nicaragua. So this would cause a very big, tremendous flood threat in northern Honduras with a lot of heavy rain. So until the 17th, the European model has reports of 18 inches in parts of northern Honduras, close to 400 millimeters, shows like some 432 millimeters, 484. Northernmost Nicaragua, like 325 millimeters, 366. Northeastern Honduras, but like northernmost Honduras, 479 millimeters. So if this did happen, which I think it will, because most models are forming this right by the coast there, this will cause a very high flooding threat and heavy rain northern Honduras in some areas. The GFS has a little bit farther out to sea, but it also has like some spots in northern Honduras, 300 millimeters, 317 millimeters, 268 millimeters. Northernmost Nicaragua, northeastern Honduras, some 295 millimeters. So please be careful in those areas and prepare ahead of time, because flooding can be very dangerous, and always be aware. And the icons forming this very close to the coast as well. The icons like 600 millimeters in northern Honduras. I don't think this much will fall. I think the European sounds more realistic, but you never know. If this system forms very robust with a lot of convection, this is definitely possible. Like showing some areas of 629 millimeters, 621 millimeters. So this will cause some tremendous flooding concerns there. So please warn others there and tell them about this heavy rain coming. So this is like, if I put this until the 16th, it only shows like 200. If I put this until the 17th, 500. So the worst of the rainfall will be between the 15th and the 17th of November. So please be careful there. There's like the European until the 19th. If I put the European until November 20th, it does show like reports of 656 millimeters until November 20th from the European model. That's some tremendous rainfall. So please be mindful of this between the 15th and the 20th. This when the worst might occur. The GFS is still at like 325 or something, but please stay safe there. And in other areas, Next 5 days, the European still has like 400 millimeters in central western Costa Rica, especially in those western Pacific areas, more than 200 millimeters. Most of western Costa Rica, northern Panama, Costa Rica, considering all the rain they already had there, the ground might be saturated and everything. So please be careful with landslides and flooding, especially like river flooding and everything. So stay safe. Now, the Canadian model for the rainfall too, up like 180 hours um, um, until the 20th. So until November 20th, the Canadian model has upwards of 25 inches in northern Honduras. That will be more than 300, 400 millimeters. Northern Honduras, most of northern Honduras more than 100, 200, and some spots closer to like northwestern Honduras, some 400 millimeters or more. So please be careful because most models are indicating it, and this could cause some tremendous flooding as the system spins around there for farming. So please be careful, and let's see here. There's something more interesting. So here, there's like, just if there's any other model that could work for the rainforest something. And wait, let's see here. The Neftchen has like it forming there. It also has a forming very close to northern Honduras and Nicaragua there, but it doesn't have the rainfall accumulation. But you get the idea. Please warn others there about what's coming, and when this comes, we'll make more updates the coming days, of course. But just be ready for very heavy rain, potential like flooding, landslides, and everything. So please stay safe. Also shows more than 100 meters the Cayman Islands. Next 5 days, more heavy showers and storms there in Jamaica, some 60 to 80 millimeters, 30 millimeters. So be aware. And depending on where this goes, this might be different. But until the 21st, the European kind of has this still lingering there. Maybe has more than 100 meters in Belize and the Yucatan, then curving towards Florida there. So please be careful in those areas and stay safe. Now, in some other areas, there should still some showers and storms on the eastern Caribbean, some 5, 9 millimeters, 13 millimeters, more Trinidad and Tobago, some 23 millimeters. Be aware, just some thunderstorms, some passing showers. Shows more there in the Virgin Islands, some 40 millimeters. Puerto Rico, some 31 millimeters. Dominican Republic shows all the way to some 51 millimeters. Some more passing showers and storms. And Eastern Cuba, Central Cuba, a little bit more. So be careful in those areas. And also in the Gulf of Mexico, near Mexico, there's some 71 millimeters. Parts of Guatemala, a little bit heavy rain. Central Guatemala, 60 millimeters. Southern Mexico, southern Honduras too, some 70 millimeters. Pacific of Nicaragua there. So be careful, but please stay safe with that heavy rain there in those other areas. So let's see here the GFS maybe. So just a second here. Here, wait. So it does have I showed you there, but the GFS is more in Jamaica, more in Jamaica there, like some 200 millimeters. So this is a different scenario. It's like the disturbance there now south of Haiti, and like 200 millimeters in Jamaica. It's like southern Haiti 139 millimeters, and some areas there. So please be careful. Be mindful of some storms near like eastern Cuba, Jamaica, and those other areas. And the icon is more in the ocean, but has more in southern Jamaica too, the Cayman Islands, and some areas. So please stay safe. And here, and I just checked here, and like 24 inches that the Canadian is showing, that's upwards of 600 millimeters. So the Canadian is actually showing like 500 to 600 millimeters northern Honduras there. So please stay safe. Now, let's see if there's something else. Like, this system hasn't formed yet for us to start predicting wind gusts and stuff. But let's see the models. The Europeans shows this starting to form there. Maybe some high winds in Pelican Ridge and some islands north of Honduras there. And then these forms does show northeastern Nicaragua and Honduras, some upwards of 75 km per gusts. This goes there and it lingers there. The European shows it lingering there, like 95 km per gust. It's still on the 18th, and this goes there. The Europeans as it entering like Belize and the Yucatan, upwards of 113 km per gust. This goes, then it has strengthening again towards the Keys and Florida there by the mid of next week. So we'll monitor this, but please be aware in those areas. Like the waves here from the GFS, it's very calm now, but this system start forming there. The GFS area shows some large waves this Thursday and Friday, some bigger swells and rip currents throughout the north western Caribbean. Those areas on Sunday, next Monday, as this goes, there shows some very large waves with this system. So be careful in those areas and please stay safe there. Let's see, maybe the European model here for wind shear or something. So it does show here, like now is like this, the 0 Z, because the other one is not. So shows some stronger wind shear like the Atlantic there, shows less in the Caribbean that it starts forming more favorable wind shear, more wind shear in the Gulf. It's keeping until the 16th some stronger shear. The Gulf kind of pushes this or something, but this eventually goes on the 19th towards the Gulf there and still encounters some bigger wind shear there. The European model is showing, but the GFS is showing like some uh, so weaker wind shear, but more favorable for this to form the Caribbean, but still some strong wind shear in the Bahamas and Florida. But then the GFS shows this catching a window there and heading towards Florida, and then getting caught up in that shear. So the environment is favorable for this. That there's like the dry air. It doesn't show much dry air, but shows like more in the Gulf there, and this starts forming there, shows it in a more moist environment, but the Gulf still with some dry air there. So this the 16th, this goes there. Uh, the dry air tries to push it, but then it manages to go through and kind of protects itself until it gets to Cuba, Florida. So it is in a good environment, but still some some things happen in the Gulf, like dry air, wind shear. But let's see here, like the sea surface temperatures are still in the 30s and 29 degrees. The Western Caribbean sunspots close to 30 degrees Celsius there. So it's still in the Gulf, so like some high 70s Fahrenheit, some 25 to 30 degrees Celsius in the southern Gulf, so still favorable. And there's that pocket of very high ocean heat content right between Cuba and the Yucatan that could help with a lot of strengthening if the conditions are right there. So we'll monitor that, and yeah, and other things. So please be aware of the system forming, uh, monitor the heavy rains there, and stay up to date with the forecasts.